Hi guys, this is Dr. Marwah, and today it gives me an immense dopamine surge to introduce to you a young, brilliant, talented young scholar, Dr. Deepthi, who's all smiles today with a rank 1 in pediatric neurology. Heartiest congratulations, doctor. And I'll begin with firing questions at you right away. What made you go into that beast mode to get to this coveted position?
First of all, thank you so much, sir. I always, during my post-graduation days itself, I was much interested in pediatric neurology, sir. Because in ICH from Madras Medical College, the pediatric neurology department is very good, sir. We get lot of number of cases to see, and during our admission days, and whatever we read in the Nelson, like that cases, we will be seeing it. And so from there, my interest started. So I want to pursue neurology. I decided there.
Okay. So, Doc, with the hectic work schedule, since you're working as a senior resident currently in Yashoda Hospital, you have had fair amount of idea of both working in a corporate setup as well as in a government setup. How did you balance out your studies and your work? Because anyway, one tend to become a little tired after working those long duty hours. So, how did you find time, and what was your schedule so that your juniors can be benefited from the same?
Yes, sir. Sir, I actually started my preparation from a final year of my post-graduation, sir. So during the theory exams, I studied whole Nelson. I actually made a notes from that, sir. So it was easy for me. So with that notes itself, and after reading the PrepLadder, Dr. Sandeep Sharma notes, I made even notes from that, sir. So with that only, I attempted NEET SS, sir. So I got a rank of 150, but I couldn't get neurology, and I always want to do neurology in institutions. So I tried a November session AIMS exam. So I prepared the notes. I read the notes. I read Nelson thoroughly, sir. So I actually took, I asked advice from my seniors, like what are the questions they're going to ask. So usually in the AIMS paper, it is like the SR entrance exam we write, no, sir. So there will be some particular topics, so out of that, questions also had helped me. And I read like important books like Swayman and particular topics from Swayman and Fennikel's Neurology. And I read it. So I believe that consistency is most important rather than studying like some 10 to 12 hours per day and the following week not even touching the book. So I always made sure I used to read at least 2 hours per day, sir, the neurology. So in INISS exam, the advantage is like we get out of 80 questions, like 50 questions will be personal neurology, neurology only mostly, and rest 30 to 40 will be the general part. And that too general part, it is significant topics. So the AIMS is very much interested in like SAADH topics. And there are certain topics that the questions will be repeated. So the topic remains the same, but the question changes.
The way they ask is going to change.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, Doc, how many times did you read Nelson? Sorry for interrupting, but how many times? Yeah.
Neurology, I read like at least 7 to 8 times, sir. Rest part, it was like only Dr. Sandeep Sharma notes. I read it, and some parts from Nelson, sir. That's all. But Nelson, for neurology, majority of the questions will be from Nelson.
Okay. Okay, so Doc, for somebody who's just starting up with, let's say, he or she has taken a PrepLadder subscription, and he or she wants to prepare, then like how many hours of video lecture watch or questions per day would you recommend for somebody who just started and wants to get an idea about the exam? Because you see, nobody would be very clear about where to begin from, because that's the biggest challenge that I find students face. Where to begin from? What are the topics to be read? So, what would be your advice for any person who's willing to follow the same path as you have followed?
So first I would like to tell, there is like, it is highly impossible to read whole Nelson and go to exams. So that is humanly not possible also. So there are certain topics like we can go through the videos, we can make a notes. So that is really important topics one definitely have to read before going to exams. And for example, if you are interested in certain exam, for example, in neurology, sir, when I wrote in the last November, I made like what are all the important topics. Like AIMS paper is very fond of muscular dystrophies and that aspect, sir, and epilepsy. So those two are the importances. So I gave much importance to that topic. So initially, like to complete all the videos, I took like 4 hours per day, sir. After making all the notes, after I revising all, so it was like a little bit easy, sir, 2 hours per day. But when I get a day off or like that, I used to spend more time revising that rather than reading new topics. I used to revise the same things, sir. So I came to know these are the important topics. So if you just read the important topics and go, we can clear the exam, sir. And one more thing is I made sure that I shouldn't make more negatives. Even aims, like I out of 80 questions, I answered only 74, sir. 6 completely I don't know, sir. I left it out. So it's better to avoid like at least 4 to 5 weeks which are completely new rather than marking every questions and getting into negative marks. So this is a strategy I followed last November also, sir. And this time also I made sure that I shouldn't risk more questions. Since because last time the rank between third and fourth was decimals, sir. So I thought even each decimals count. So I made sure I shouldn't make more negatives.
Okay, no, Doc. The points that you said are very pertinent, very relevant for any aspirant who's going to start preparing for his NEET SS journey. And hats off to your dedication. I mean, you started studying and you were managing so many hours in spite of your daily schedule. So, any tips for budding junior doctors who, let me say, who have just entered into their post graduation, let me say PG first year? What would you be your advice to them in case they aspire to get into pediatric neurology?
Sir, based on pediatric neurology, I would like to like suggest that how many patients we see, we treat. Learning the subject clinically, you will recollect it more rather than just simply mugging up from the textbook. So I would like to tell, see lot of number of cases, learn from the cases, and then retrospectively, whenever you read, you think like, yes, we have seen this case. So how you will solve the case when you are in that scenario. So I'll always tell like go to the patients, always take a history properly and analyze it. And once you see whatever case, for example, CP, if I see that day, I used to go home and see and read everything, both examination part and the theory parts. Like clinical examination, there'll be certain signs. So, and theory part, like there are different types of CP and all. So I used to merge them, I used to correlate them clinically and then make a short notes. Like theory may what I have to write, and clinically if they ask me what I have to write. So that really helped me, sir. So I'd like to tell that clinicals are very much important, and clinical knowledge is also important, I to tell it.
Yeah, but those tables for epilepsy, both the tables for various types of syndromes associated with epilepsy in Harrison as well as in Nelson, they're so, I mean, there's so much of data packed in that when one tends to see those tables, one tends to get a little zapped and like, oh my God, I have to remember all these facts. So, I mean, how were you doing it? Like, were you finishing the entire table in a day? I understand that, yeah, I mean, you put in a lot of hard work, but then for a person who's going to see that for the first time and say, oh my God, I have to remember all of this. How did you go about it so that the juniors can follow probably the same path and they can get benefit out of it?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, there is like ILA website, sir. In that, he has given specifically the clinical syndromes of particular age group, like idiopathic generalized epilepsies like some with etiological onset. He had very, briefly given, so each PDF will be like from 25 to 30 pages, sir. I made a notes like from the like in the neonatal age group, what are the seizure syndromes? In the childhood age, what are the seizure syndromes? In the adolescent group, what are the seizure syndromes? He have given very briefly, sir, and it is like with the EEG pictures, with the tabular column we have given, sir. So that really made it easy, sir. So I just made a tabular column of all the syndromes. I used to write the EEG findings and I used to correlate and read it, sir. And definitely EEG and epilepsy is a topic that one have to brush before the exam days.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think for anybody who wants to get into neurology, generally speaking, whether you want to follow it after general medicine or whether you want to follow it after pediatrics, EEG is something with epilepsy syndromes that's definitely going to be asked. So, Doc, any dedications that you want to make with respect to family and other people? Then the stage is all yours.
Definitely, sir. I will really thank my mom and dad for really supporting me, sir. And all my colleagues were very helpful, sir. Like Dr. Prithvi, Dr. Sai Kumar, they were always so supportive, always telling me, they used to cheer me up in a positive way. And especially my senior, Dr. Ram Sundar, who used to guide me every time whenever I asked him questions, sir, what to read. Like, so I always believe there should be a guidance from seniors, sir. So our preparation exactly starts from that point, sir. So like taking a guidance from seniors, like what to study, how to study, that is really important, I believe, sir. And I always believe
Yep.
like God's blessings also should be.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so nice of you to hear about you talking about colleagues and seniors, because traditionally what I've seen is once somebody attains something, then the person tends to get that ego. Okay, man, I've done it. But it's so humble of you that you are naming all your colleagues, you're naming your seniors who have guided you, and that speaks a lot of volume about your humility and about your personality. Uh, it was really nice talking to you, Doctor. And on behalf of PrepLadder, we are happy to be a part of a great journey that you have done, and we wish you the very best on behalf of PrepLadder and from my side itself personally as well. That God bless you, and you're gonna do great in your career.
Thank you so much, sir.